Welcome back to another episode of Bulletproof Mindset. I am your host, Coach Crossar, and every Monday I drop a solo episode. Today's solo episode, we are diving into fitness, gimmicks, and scams. Now, this one I would say this one definitely got controversial. I got a little bit heated in some of them, but I'm really trying to take a balanced approach to why these products existed to begin with, why I believe they are a scam and a gimmick, and I'm also open to hearing your feedback. So I'm excited for you to go into that, hear this episode. The key ones are like spot reducing body fat, supplements, toning, fat burning, multi-level marketing schemes, and so much more. So enjoy today's episode. What I would say is, before we go into the episode, every Thursday I have a guest on the podcast. Sometimes it's an old guest that's already been on. Sometimes it's a new guest. And I've been having a lot of fun diving into their stories, understanding where their resilience comes from, how they've got such a quote-unquote bulletproof mindset. So if you are new around here, you can expect episodes out every Monday and Thursday at 6 a.m. And what I would say for you guys who haven't rated the podcast yet, it would mean the world to me if you can leave a 5-star rating. If I'm being honest with you, this is generally the best way you can support the show. It gets the show pushed to more people. I do this all for free, and this is a bit of a feedback to me that I'm on the right track and I'm delivering good episodes and value to you guys. So if you can help me out, that would mean the world. But without further ado, enjoy this episode, and I'll see you guys on the next one. What does happiness mean to you? It's a genuine question I have. And we're not going to dive into this today at all, but getting into a lot of mindset talk and conversations, that happiness is we all have different meanings of what it can be. For some, it's about family. For others, it's about financial freedom, experiences, places, all these sort of different things. And one of the audiobooks I was listening to just now, they asked that question. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, what is happiness? I wonder how we define happiness. But within this book, a quote that was highlighted was, happiness isn't the place, it's your perception of it. And it's so true how powerful our mind can be when we look at a certain situation. We can't necessarily control the situation, but what we can control is how we react, how we process our emotions through that. And yeah, that's the impactful statement we're kicking off today's episode with. Now, you've seen the title of this episode, Fitness Gimmicks. What is some fitness scams? There is a shit ton of them, sadly. It is part and parcel of the industry that I'm in, that you're in. We're in this together. So what I thought I would do is I put a wee question box up on my Instagram on the Bulletproof Mindset __ page, and I've got a couple of guys to message in, so I've picked a few of them as well. Some of them are a bit of tongue-in-cheek, but we'll spark up a discussion on them nevertheless. And then there's others that I dove into the research, some things happening fairly recently that I'm very surprised at, but it's the fitness industry after all. There is billions and billions of pounds and dollars to be made, and you bet there will be companies that don't necessarily care about making the world a healthier and fitter place, but care mostly about the profits and revenue that they can generate. Now, I never put this one in here, but it does tie into some of the points I had. But if anyone remembers the shake weight, now the only way I can describe this, if you're not watching on YouTube or Spotify, but basically you had your hands together like you're about to tug yourself off, right? And it's the only way I can describe it is a masturbation tool, and it was a shake weight, and you just sat there for ages, and it was all targeted towards toning your arms. Now, this product made something like 40 million in the first year in terms of sales. Obviously, everything's a bit discreet in terms of the profits and all that sort of stuff. Even to this day, people are still buying that to tone their arms, which baffles me. So we've got a lot of work to do in the fitness space. We've came a long way, don't get me wrong, but the fact that was a product that managed to exist for a short period of time blows my mind. Thankfully, in the age of technology, we're a wee bit more aware. We can get information, we can see cited research, we can get anecdotal research, we can get more information to dispel if something is valuable or a load of shit. And this is one of them that you've seen pop up on the TV. I think talk shows like Ellen and all that sort of stuff, they were promoting it, and it just got so much traction that it became a global sensation, and all you're doing was shaking your arms in front of you, and it was toning, the whole toning your arms. Now, that is obviously a point I've got in here in terms of today's topics that we're going to cover over. And I really wanted to try and challenge the opposing perspective. So I'm not going to be dead biased in this, but what I do want to know is if there's any I've missed over. There's obviously 101 different fitness gimmicks or fitness scams out there. I would like you to comment below, what is some fitness scams that you see, maybe you've been a part of, maybe you've sadly fallen victim to. I'd love for you to comment below, and I'll do a follow-up episode in the next couple of weeks about this. Let's get into the fitness scams then. First one we are kicking off with is the spot reduction of fat. So going off what we just said, toning up your arms. So this one breaks down into supplements, into the fitness tools that become available, and then also there's kind of more. This honestly just branches off. This is the biggest insecurity of our population, being able to spot reduce fat. We cannot do it. It can't happen. In fact, there was a study that came up in, I think it was 2023, and it highlighted that we could spot reduce fat, but when you looked at the research, and this is where it becomes very I don't know what the word is, very sneaky, and when some people try and push an agenda. But ultimately they were like, look, we have evidence that this group of individuals managed to spot reduce their belly fat. And when you look at what the group's done, first of all, it was 2 groups of 8. One group of 8 people worked out twice as long as the other group, which inherently meant they burnt more body fat. So there's tons of little tricks and things that people try and pull wool over your eyes to push their agenda of whether it's their product, their supplement, all these sort of things. But when it comes to the spot reduction of fat, there is a small anecdotal experience I've got with this where, yes, we can make an area seem like it looks better. When you kind of break down what does most people want weight loss, they want to look a certain way in front of the mirror. All these are very subjective outlooks. So I could take a client through a 12-week transformation and, like, objectively looking at their measurements, looking at the weight in the scales and the things that have happened within the gym, we can make a very good conclusion that they have indeed lost weight and got quote unquote better looking off the back of some of those objective metrics. But at the end of the day, if they have this body dysmorphia and what they visually see in front of that mirror, then it doesn't matter because it's all subjective. So when the whole spot reduction of fat, it generally creates this pop-up market of so many gimmicky products, so many scams in the industry when it comes to some of the later points that I've got in this, but you cannot spot reduce fat within reason. There is things that we can do to make an area of our body sculpt and shape a little bit more, and that's through the building of muscle. So when you hear the word toning, I hate being the dickhead that's like, oh, toning's not a real word, it's not a real process. The fact is, you understand what I mean when I say the word toning. It gets an area tighter, and that's what most of us want. Most of us don't want to lose a ton of weight and just have this saggy skin sitting there. We want to feel, we want that skin to be filled out with muscle, and that muscle gives us the shape that we want it to. Best way you can look at this for guys, we want these round shoulders and these sort of filled out arms, not necessarily fat arms, but muscular arms, and the definition and that comes with it. For women, it's usually in the bum area. They don't want this kind of flat backside, they want the rounding to it. Weirdly enough, you have the whole BBL situation where more and more people are getting surgeries to augment how their body looks, but you can always tell. In fact, a telltale sign, guys out there, if you want to know if your favourite fitness influencer has really worked hard or have they just got a surgical advancement, and that is by the development of the hamstrings. It's near impossible to develop good glutes without any hamstring development, and you always see that. Let's look at these skinny legs and then the bum's just like it's expanded up. So the spot reduction of fat, what I will say with this is we can pick an area of our body and build muscle so that we don't, with a higher body fat percentage, that definition of muscle shines through. So an example I'll take is me currently, and I can point to a few clients over the years who've spent a lot of work with building their core muscles, building their abs. Your abs is like any other muscle, requires a good progressive overload, good programming, and the right level of intensity increasing within those sessions. Now, if you do that over a longer period of time, then you are going to develop blocky abs, these sort of this definition, or grow the muscle that's in your abdominal wall. Now, what does that mean? Well, at a higher body fat percentage, that muscle will shine through. And I found this with myself in particular, where over the years I've been down as low as 4 or 5% body fat, maybe even lower. I actually should have got it tested. It is another challenge I want to do in the sort of near future to see how lean I can get, all from the experimentation of body fat percentages, yada yada yada. But I've been down at 4% body fat, and I've also been as heavy as upwards of 25 to 30% body fat. And as I've kind of got through my own fitness journey over the years, what I have seen is the higher body fat percentage I have, the less shredded I am in my midsection, of course. But through properly training my core, my abs shine through at a higher body fat percentage, where they didn't really necessarily show up in the earlier days of my training, because I'd developed that muscle. Same goes for like your biceps. Like, most guys can sort of flex their bicep regardless of the how much body fat they have, and you can see this cut, this definition. That is a good example to look at, where maybe not spot reducing fat is the right thing we can do, but we can certainly sculpt our body in a way where the illusion, because remember, this is all very subjective, can give that impression that, I've made an improvement in this area. That being said, if you are following someone that highlights fat burning workouts, fucking block them. Like, there is no such thing. And I have a little bit of empathy. I do, and I say a little bit because really you need to check yourself. You've probably been in the fitness world, and we see a lot of this circulating from time to time. But the guy that is shredded, that is anabolically enhanced, that is doing 101 different exercises within a 10-minute window, calling it a fat-burning exercise. The fat-burning workouts are a thing that still seem to prop up within the fitness space. They are bullshit. They're not a thing. A big part of this is gyms playing on your insecurity. It does my box in when I see gyms do fat burning belly fat 101, or I don't know what they even call it these days, but like, it's just playing into this situation. It's an absolute scam. It's gravitating and pulling a lot of people into it, thinking that they're going to burn fat in their belly if they go to this class. That's not how it works. Our body doesn't just pick an area that it's going to reduce the fat from just because we're exercising that particular muscle or that movement pattern. It doesn't work like that. The same goes for the whole legs, bums and tums movement. The only way that you're going to build and sculpt that body is with good progressive resistance training, which I guess the class structure can be very dependent on how that's set up, depending on the personal trainer that runs it. But most of the time, these are older shit. You cannot spot reduce fat. There is no such thing as a fat burning workout. And sadly, that is where most people end up getting caught up. So that's why I'd put this at the start, because a lot of you guys listening might actually be like, you're absolutely right. And there is a large chunk of people it's like, you know what, I've never really thought about it that way, but it makes sense. And again, there's going to be a small percentage of people who have had somewhat success and they're very fixated on that success, so they're going to push back in this mesh and go, well, no, this worked for me, when in reality the way that worked for them was because their nutrition, the calories burned, or the calorie deficit that was created through this process, was the reason being it, not the actual fat burning workout themself. So circling back down to this, the main driver is the engine within your body, your nutritional input and output, your metabolism is referred to. If there's less calories going into your body than what your body's burning, then you will utilise body fat. Now, depending on what resistance that you're doing, you will sometimes do away with some muscle. But if you've got a good resistance training structure in play, you've got good strength training a couple of times a week, you'll retain that muscle as long as you have your protein in check and all these other things. But nutrition is the main driver. No workout will burn more body fat. And it's, it's hilarious, the whole incline walking movement, right? So many people on the treadmill are like, yeah, I'm going to burn fat, so I'm going to incline walk it. What is it? I don't know what it is. It's referred to as like the 7-5 for 25. I don't know. It's like a buzzword that gets thrown out in TikTok because it's easy to follow. And you're like, right, I'm going to do that and I'm going to burn more fat. And you do it for a couple of weeks and you're like, wow, feeling a bit better. The scales are coming down. Walking is a fantastic way to utilise and increase as weeks go on within your training structure, with the purpose of losing body fat. Absolutely is. But you don't need to be in an incline walk in a treadmill. Initially, yes, there's maybe a little bit more of a calorie burn. You're talking buttons, regardless of how long you're doing this for. You could be doing it for an hour. It genuinely doesn't have that significant an impact. And I'll fight anyone in this. The whole bodybuilding space is big on this. It's like, just do your steps. Now, where I would say this comes into play, doing it on a treadmill, is if you get to a point with your steps and you're like, Dale, I can't hit any more than 12,000 steps, then that's where you need to introduce planned cardio. But if you listen to me for long enough, then the whole cardio route to utilise is its own metric to try and burn more body fat leads you to a bit of a crossroad later down the line where you're doing so much cardio and you maybe still have a ton of fat to do and you're like, where do I go from here? Because my body's now adapted to doing all this movement. So if I do less of this movement, I'm going to gain fat back. And that, to me, is a pretty poor trade-off when you could just kind of reduce your calories with another couple of hundred calories and get the same output or the same outcome for less of the effort. So it's not always about working hard. Sometimes we need to play smart as well. Now, if you got any questions on this, please comment below. Please reach out to me on Instagram at Coach Crossar. I would happily open up a debate, help you with your situation, and even be challenged on some of these ideas. Absolutely not set in my ways. I'm just communicating my thoughts, my opinions on the matter, and I would love to hear what you guys think as well. So that is point number 1. Fat burning workout, spot reduction of fat, toning a certain area, yada, yada, yada. On the flip side of this, fat burning supplements, right? The fat burning supplements, again, can be a scam. In fact, I would say it is a scam for most people. However, there's a small percentage of people that it will aid their fat burning journey as a byproduct. Not because, it's because they're maybe nutritionally, they're missing something in their life from an energy perspective, and the supplement itself gives them that boost to then go do the activity, to stay more disciplined with the diet or whatever it may be. So not necessarily the supplement itself, it's a byproduct of, going back to what we said, how is that metabolism operating and their ability to have less calories coming into the system than what the output is. Now, you can't stay in that state forever. I highly recommend jumping in that phase for 4 weeks at a time, with one or 2 weeks in between that, where you come back up calories to a state where you're more comfortable. Okay, in terms of the gimmicks, we talked about the shake weight, waist trainers, right? Waist trainers, and I would even go as far as say lifting belts. Lifting belts absolutely are valuable when you're lifting weights, but a lot of people wear lifting belts because they think it's going to shrink their waist, which is fucking bullshit, right? Absolute morons out there thinking that the compression's going to bring their waist in and give this illusion. Well, that being said, there is an illusion that is given if the waist is pulled in so tight, but actually weakens your core muscles if you use it all the time. That is the maddest thing about this whole thing. Do you want a strong body, or do you want just a body that kind of semi looks good, but when you bend over to pick something up, your body's in bits from doing it? So waist trainers, again, is another one of these things that give the illusion of something that's very subjective and plays into that insecurity of the subjectiveness that you have towards looking in the mirror. But it ain't shrinking your waist, right? That is not doing that whatsoever. Only way you can reduce body fat is by coming back to that metabolism. What's going in, what's going out, the balance, and the scales have to be balanced towards more being burned than kind of what's been brought into the body. Okay, I think that wraps up everything from a toning perspective, from a fat burning perspective. Hopefully you're all with me. Next one, it's been a while with this one. Multi-level marketing schemes. MLMs as they're referred to. Now, if you still don't know what I'm talking about, Herbalife is up there with, I mean, don't get me wrong, people within the Herbalife world still to this day are like, no, it's not. We're not an MLM structure. Yes, you are. And what I would say is, if you don't know what an MLM is, search on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, just type in MLM experiences and just look at what people have to say with being in the industry or being in that side of the world. Now, multi-level marketing schemes, what they're designed to do is not use a retail store, but push people, right? So, for example, let's say someone like Herbalife approached me and we're like, look, we can give you a financially free life. We can get you freedom from the job that you hate. We can get you paid well, going on the holidays that you want, and also get you to think that you're playing into this message of making the world a healthier and fitter place by selling our supplements. Best way I can kind of segment this a little bit is, if anyone sees the fucking dafties on TikTok shop, it's like, oh my God, you can buy this thing. They're getting commission and kickback by selling that product. And this is what the sort of MLMs are doing there, but they're doing it in more of a cult-like fashion, unfortunately. Now, Herbalife is one of the ones that we spoke about way back. There's certainly a cult-like following. I got a lot of hate from the episode that I've done in the past. And what I'll circle back and say, like from what I said in a previous episode, because we're talking well over 100 episodes since we touched this subject, I don't believe that people have true bad intentions within there. I think some of them absolutely have, because you always hear some horror stories, but the bias is obviously going to be towards those horror stories. We always recognise that big negative experience rather than the some good that it does. I know through my previous job and things like that a couple of people that have went into that world, and they have went into it with good intentions, because what happened, they were struggling with their fitness, they were struggling with their diet, they were given this product and they were like, you know what, I'm going to stick to this product. So they're disciplined to stick to a product, got them results, and they were so taken back with the results. It's like, oh my God, I have tried everything and this has been the thing that's managed to solve my fitness journey. So they get caught up and it's like, yes, this is the best thing ever. This is the only way to do it. And it goes back into it just becomes another diet. It's just another method. Now, some of these products you're paying £200, £300, £400 a month to essentially drink a shake instead of eating a meal. So that's the simplicity in it. And don't get me wrong, it's gold, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant and genius from a business perspective. What's the hardest thing when it comes to diet? Choosing what to eat. So if you simplify that process, it makes it easier for people to get results. And people will get results. But the problem isn't solved there, because if you're going to drink a shake and drink your food for the rest of your life, then all power to you. That's going to work for you. But there's going to be a time where you crave a little bit more from your nutrition. We have evolved from eating whole foods, eating fruits, vegetables, meats, all that sort of thing. So there is an imbalance within our body if we don't nutritionally feed that, and we can't do that through an artificial product. I'm sorry, it doesn't happen. It's the same if you just constantly consume your protein from protein shakes, your digestion will get fucked up. It'll happen. It may not happen now, but 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, there's going to be a crack, and it'll be more problematic for you at that later stage. So Herbalife is one of them. It's a scam. It is a waste of money. Like, it generally is. Like, I know I'm kind of attacking a lot of people's jobs by saying that, but ultimately their jobs is to sell your product. You might think that you're getting sold into this world of healthier and fitter, but what is it doing? It's making you eat less calories and it's making you move more. Those two things we've already proven that, albeit that is sometimes the solution to this whole process, but it's not fucking worked, right? And if you can't stomach having shakes for the rest of your life, this isn't going to be a strategy that's going to be right for you. And what I've seen within this world is there's a hard push to sell products. That being said, I've seen some really good ambassadors, I guess, if we want to call it, who are in the world and they're kind of pushing the healthier and fitter lifestyle. And they're like, look, use these products as a byproduct to live this healthier and fitter life. But ultimately, they won't get paid as well unless they push more products. And that being the main driving force makes this more of a scam than an actual benefit to the industry. So things like this, the other thing, I wouldn't say Slimming World is necessarily a scam, but again, the over glorification that it's all about weight and the scales, and the same thing happens in Herbalife. But people need to realise that the reason these companies exist is because they're trying to get profit, and the best way they can get profit is by bringing other people and getting, like, if I had to, for example, I said this at the start, I didn't quite finish my point and what I wanted to say, but if I get drafted into that world, I've got a podcast, I've got a following online, I've got a lot of clients and a lot of people who trust my opinion. So for me to go, here, sell this product, buy this product, this is one of the best things that I have done for my fat loss journey and that my clients have done for the fat loss journey, then guess what? I'm going to make a few bob off that, and the commission levels can be insane. But yeah, like I got attacked last time. Okay, so I'm going to interrupt this episode just really quickly. If you haven't already, I really need your help. And I know I say this on every episode, but if you haven't left a 5-star rating, I would be very honoured if you could. I'm really trying to. It plays into my ego, but this is a way that I recognise if the podcast is doing well or not. And you guys know I do this for free. I don't monetize anything within this podcast. Week in, week out, 2 episodes per week. I've been showing up for you guys, and I'll continue to do that over the next couple of years. But one of the way I can get more exposure on this podcast is if the show gets shared on whatever platform you want to share it on, but more so if I have subscribers on YouTube and 5-star ratings on Spotify. I'm going to keep it simple. If you haven't already, that's one of the reasons I keep asking you to leave a little review. Apple Podcast, Audible, wherever you're choosing to listen to this. It would mean the world to me. But yeah, enough begging. If you've done that already, again, I love you. Thank you so much for helping me out. And yeah, let's get back to the show. Okay, so I'm going to quickly cut to Instagram. So there are a couple of ones. Well, I've chose 2 out of it. One of them I really liked. So let me bring this up. It's certainly up there with one of the biggest fitness scams in Scotland, and that is the MTN coaching 12-week peak. How dare they create a product, sell people on this amazing transformation, and actually fucking deliver an amazing transformation physically from before and afters. This was actually done. It was it's Alex who put this one in, but I thought I would throw that one in there because I actually laughed when he put that through. If you never got the joke there, it ain't a fitness scam. I mean, they had close to 500 people join up to them last time. You've heard us talk about the whole transformational journeys before. David's obviously been on the podcast. A lot of integrity, what the guys do, and try to get body composition results for anyone that's interested in it. So it's one of them that is not a scam, thankfully. What I do want to say is, pivoting on to this next one, personalised creatine supplements. This is a new trendy thing to do from your favourite influencer or TikToker is, don't buy this creatine, buy this creatine for women. Buy this creatine for athletes. Creatine is creatine at the end of the day, right? The best creatine that has been researched across the board, you've probably heard this phrase many times before, is creatine monohydrate. Don't overcomplicate it. Anyone that's selling any other knockoffs of this is just trying to get your money. Simple as that. If they had true integrity, they'd be like, look, we've got our own product, creatine. It's just creatine monohydrate. It's one of the best products in the market. We wanted to make our own as well. Here it is. But when they start talking about, creatine gets you bloated and all this sort of stuff, we've put fucking B12 in it to stop you bloating. It is a load of garbage, right? Don't fall for the trap. That is a scam. The same goes for BCAAs. Now, BCAAs it was like the main product most people were pushing, maybe about, about 10 years ago. And then it almost became like the clown product. And what I would say is, most of us listening to this don't need a BCAA product. Who does is anyone under consuming protein. Simple as that. If you're not getting your protein, BCAAs can be a fantastic product to put in there because you're not getting that from anywhere else within your diet. However, if you're having enough adequate protein, you don't need it. You're generally paying for expensive pee, as it's been referred to before. Don't get me wrong, it tastes good. You can get some fantastic flavours, but just buy some diluting juice, man. Buy the little Robinson drops. That'll do you good enough. Okay, on the theme of supplements, any supplement that says it can do X, and on a side note, any influencer, any coach that says, I got to here by having this product. Now, there is products out there like peptides, steroids, of course, some certain supplements when it comes to maybe your creatine, when it comes to your vitamins, your minerals, they all play a part in that, but these are all little small things. The main key players for anyone's results is going to be their stress management, so that falls into the category of sleep, their hydration, their water intake, their nutrition approach, and their training approach, right? They're the 4 main major things. So if you're not doing any of those 4 things and you've not got those 4 things dialed in yet, supplements can be a big waste of money and be almost a scam for you. I'm not saying that they are a scam, but you can see where that can inherently play a relevant role of buying X supplement to get X result. Because if you're not sleeping well, if you're not getting your protein in, you're not working out, you're not resting, or you don't have any sort of nutrition structure, then it's going to be a waste of money for you. Now, that being said, it can also be an advantage to take some supplements to dial in those 4 areas. That's why I brought up where if you're not getting enough sunlight, or you're finding that you're when you're getting towards the night time, you're finding it really hard to get to sleep, try and do everything that you can naturally first. And if you can't, then that's where you can pull the lever on some of these supplements that can help you get into that better rhythm. But we should never be reliant upon supplements. Our bodies aren't designed to be reliant upon supplements. Supplements can play a huge part within our fitness journey, but it should be something that is cycled through and transitioned out of and onto the next sort of chapter, or brought in every now and then, because our body will adapt to whatever it is that you're having, and there will be a breaking point if something. Digestion is a big telltale sign. If you're having food, shakes, cream of rice, protein shakes, whatever it may be, and you find yourself that your digestion's getting thrown way off, then guess what? It's probably pointing to the supplement, the artificial product that you're putting in your body. And that's when you go to ultra processed foods and you're like, oh man, I feel like shit. And it's like, well, you've just put this highly advanced I wouldn't even say chemical, but engineered food into your body to taste super, where more emphasis is put on how it tastes, and then when that's digested with all the multiple ingredients and chemicals and oils and whatever, then you have the side effect of diarrhea. So it ain't good. It ain't good for you. Okay, so we got 2 more to go through. Now this next one I've seen pop up. I'm actually seeing people getting shop fronts for this now, which, see, if I'm being honest, I'm genuinely a little bit worried for this one. Now I'll preface this and say I don't know too much of this information. Looked into it a little bit, and I think I've got a grasp on what it does, why there's a market for it. But that is the whole fat dissolvers. And the fat dissolvers kind of break down. There's I think it's called lemon dissolve is the main one that people are getting injected into the bottom of their chin to make their face look better. This is separate to fillers, right? So this is something that dissolves the fat, right? So again, they're very smart in the words that they use, because straight away that plays to a lot of insecurities of people. So you've got things like your lemon fat dissolvers, you've got your laser ultrasounds, and then you've got your cold, your freezing of the fats. You basically freeze some of the fat cells, and then your body processes and does away with them. This is all well and good, but this doesn't change your overall body fat percentage, right? Again, it plays to that insecurity within us, that subjective matter, that when you look before and after and you're like, oh, yeah, I can see a difference. No, you can't. I'm sorry, you can't. I see it. I see people posting, look at these non-surgical tummy tucks, and it's like before and after, and it's like our person's skin is red raw. And let's be honest, this is targeted at women. I don't see any guys doing this. The non-surgical BBLs as well, where it's like before and afters, and I'm generally looking at the picture and I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at here? What have you done? You've just taken 35, 40 quid, and I'll go into the dissolvers in a second, but you've just taken a shit ton of money off someone to roll your hands into their body. There's the thing called wood therapy, which basically is a rolling pin with some bits on it, and they're fucking tearing into your muscle tissue. You'd be better going to a sports therapist than at least getting some tissue manipulation done if you're dealing with an injury. But you're generally getting people who have got a low level qualification, and I'm not I'll be very careful here, because I'm not attacking these people as a bad choice of job, because this is all part of the beauty world, right? This is all part of the beauty industry and the reason why this is here. But that has created this 500, I think the course was £399 I seen a course there for, to run through this, and it's a 2-day event, and you can be qualified to roll a rolling pin into someone and play the terms of, we're helping you getting a non-surgical tummy tuck, and we are getting rid of your cellulite, and we're doing all these fantastic things. And the sad reality is that there's a ton of research there that points to this doesn't make that dramatic an impact. What it does is a short-term release, right? It's a short-term manipulation where in the moment you're like, I feel a wee bit better. Yeah, I can see a wee bit of tightening up of the skin, but it's only because it's went through this stressful impact that if you think of sunburn, right, or you think getting slapped really hard, the skin goes super, super tight. That's an adaptation to the impact of being hit, but it doesn't last. It genuinely doesn't last. A lot of people are coming away with bruising and all these different things, but it's going through a bunch of before and afters, and a few of them have popped up around here as well, and I'm just thinking to myself, again, this is just playing to insecurities, mainly to women, and it's got the buzzwords that again play on those insecurities. Fat dissolver, tummy tuck, skinnier waist, tighter bum, no cellulite, all things that people want to get rid of. And it's stealing your money for fuck all. You're generally better hiring a personal trainer. You're generally better going into a world of fitness, because then you get all the benefits of the things you might not consider to be benefits of lifting weights, of working out. You're not helping your mental state. You're not helping your physical state. It's like, I think I don't know when this was, but if there was a pill that could transform your body into the dream body that you want, that dream body would never last for you, because you've not worked hard to get it. And quite frankly, it's a cop-out. It genuinely is a cop-out. And I know I'm coming across harsh here, but I would say this targets a certain demographic of people who have tried a bunch of things and feel lost, because they've tried the Herbalife, they've tried the 15-minute ab workout, they've tried the high-intensity classes, and they've seen no results with it, because, let's be honest, it's a fucking poor way of going about your weight loss journey or your fat loss journey. So they see this thing where you can lie on a table and get battered for 30 minutes, and then you get this subjective anecdotal, yeah, I think I feel better. Yeah, it definitely looks better. And it just plays into that whole world of, yeah, this is so much easier to stick to. I can still enjoy the lifestyle that I'll have. So parking that for a little second, the second part to this is the lemon fat dissolvers, the laser ultrasounds, it's no cryotherapy. I wrote it down. I've somehow deleted it. But essentially the freezing of fat cells. Anything that says it dissolves fat, there is some merit to it for a short period of time. As I said, it doesn't. So if you are 20, so let's say you're 30% body fat, by going to multiple sessions of this, you're going to see some subjective changes. The weight in the scale is going to stay the same. Your body fat percentage, more or less, is going to stay the same, because there has not been any changes to your lifestyle, to the routine that you live, to your nutrition structure, to your workout structure. And because your lifestyle's already in an unhealthy place, because let's be honest, you don't just wake up and not be happy with your physical state, you're going to stay within that lifestyle. And over time, you're then going to be reliant on getting fat dissolvers done in different areas of your body. Now, I had a price, not for my own, thankfully, but in terms of how much some of this costs, you got get rid of your double chin. This is how this is branded on this website, and all I put in was fat dissolvers, and this is one of the top searches. Get rid of your double chin, £150 per jab. And when you look at the research on this, it says anywhere from 3 to 4 jabs, you will see a dramatic difference on the fat tissue that sits within that body. What it doesn't, I'll come on to it in a sec, so I just want to run through these first of all, because the wording on it is mental. So we got the small treatment, which covers arms, man boobs. I didn't realise men would be targeted with this, but I guess it does. Knees, bra fat, waistline, lower belly, upper belly, love handles, back fat. So that's the small treatment area, £200. We then got the belly package, 6 areas, platinum, £500 for your lower belly, upper belly, waistline, love handles, bra bulges and back fat. £500 per jab. £500 per jab for that. So this is a really expensive process to go. Now, you can hire a personal trainer for a fucking year and see them 2 times a week for the same of what you would invest into that over the course of a month. Generally could. And I would guarantee you that the journey, working with someone who's going to keep you accountable and really work with you, be empathetic, all this sort of things, that's going to play a more significant impact to your lifestyle than what a jab is going to do. It baffles me that this is even a thing that exists. And sadly, it comes from the beautician world. In the whole beautician world, we're just creating more and more unrealistic expectations for women and men. Like, we genuinely are. And that's the sad thing about this whole fitness thing, right? The whole fitness space has a very unhealthy outlook at the other extreme end, where you see these people who are photoshopping their pictures and they're in incredible shape. And it makes you look within, and you have their own insecurities because you're comparing. You're like, man, I want to look like that. So it leads you down the rabbit hole of looking at all these gimmicky, bullshit, money-stealing products. You got another one here, sexy legs. £400, inner thighs, outer thighs and knees. I mean, if you get fat around your knees, dissolving the fat's not fixing the issue. Because guess what? Back to those Ozempic episodes. You lose the fat and don't gain the muscle, you are a weaker human being. You are an unhealthier, I would make an argument, an unhealthier human being. More and more information is coming out about this. Obesity is a big part of the reason why we're so unhealthy in this day and age, in the UK in particular. But it isn't actually the obesity that's the concern, it's the lack of muscle that people have, because with lack of muscle comes lack of strength, lack of brain cognition, hormonal profiles, energy balances, all these sort of things. So the lack of that muscle development in our bodies is the main reason, and these stupid products don't help you with that. What it does, it ticks a box of that little part in your brain that goes, yeah, I feel better now. But that motivational feeling wears off. And guess what? You're down the rabbit hole and you're £600-700 deep into whatever these dissolvers claim that they're going to do. Now, what I want to highlight is after a couple of months of taking these dissolvers, they have this initial spike, this is an initial dopamine hit in your brain because you see these subtle little changes. But at the end of the day, if you look at these before and afters, it genuinely is nothing. I can do more with you in 30 days for free than what some of these treatments claim to do. And that's why I'm doing this episode. I mean, I'm looking at these before and afters on this site, right? And they're saying 4 treatments over the month, so you're spending well over £2,000 here. And yes, I can see a bit of a difference, but I hate to say it, people still have a large percent of body fat percentage. And I'm not saying that to judge them, I'm saying that I know the reason they go into this is because they hear the word fat dissolve, and they want to lose fat, and they haven't really lost fat, because most of us want to lose that body fat percentage. And the way we do that is by the nutritional approach, but also the building of muscle approach, because the more muscle we have, the lower that body fat percentage gets. So yeah, this one riled me up. I've got clinics open. I better not say too much about it because I don't know the people personally, and I'm open to the debating this. Like, if there's anyone out there getting frustrated at what I'm saying, challenge me, reach out. What's your experience? But I just think it's a gimmick. It genuinely is a gimmicky thing to do. And the reason this is such a great model for businesses, because you come in, you're assessed, jab, done, right? It's generally, let's say 10 minutes. It's like the whole vitamin B12 one. That's another one that I should have really spoke about. But the whole get your jab and then off you go, £500 later. Fucking mental. The wood one, that one baffled me. To get rolling pinned. May as well just got a sports therapist, as I said, with that one. Now, I did have a bonus one, but I'm probably going to do a separate video on this just as a reaction, because it ties into the Ozempic part. But Kourtney Kardashian, of course, the celebrities are always fucking jumping on this shit. Another way to make a shit ton of money. But she's got her own product line, but she's released her Ozempic GLP-1 gummies that have, or they claim that they can do the same thing without the injections. And again, it's just going to be how well can this product be marketed, and that's going to play into how many people end up buying it. But looking at the ingredients that's in this, again, it's a load of bullshit. You may as well just eat 2 apples and a banana and generally get the same rewards. So we'll do a separate video on that. I didn't expect this episode to be so long, so if you've made it this far, thank you. I will wrap up the episode there. I don't think I've got anything else to say in this. I guess the thing I'll wrap up on is there's always going to be fitness gimmicks. There's always going to be fitness scams. And your ability to be able to really question, is this really what I want, is the best bit of advice I can give you. Because look, if you fall into the trap of maybe doing some of these, maybe it generally becomes, you know what, I'm going to try it out for myself to see what my experience is, and I'm prepared to get the lesson regardless of the money that I'm going to spend on it. Cool. All power to you, because that makes you more resilient going into anything that you're going to come across in the future. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 10 years. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make a claim right now. I reckon in the next 5 years, there is going to be more Ozempic products, right? And I mean Ozempic gummies, Ozempic meal deals, Ozempic meals to have. There's going to be so many supplements created off the back of this new technology that we are experiencing that's really going to help people lose a lot of weight. On those episodes, if you haven't listened, we're missing a massive opportunity if we don't strengthen our bodies through this process. Because yes, we might lose a ton of weight, but we're going to become even unhealthier. So yeah, with that being said, let's wrap the episode up there. I love you. I'll leave you. Next episode, we have Pit Stop Nutrition, which was a fantastic episode, kind of diving into the supplements, and it was really good to pick his brain. So that's going to come out on Thursday. If you got any questions for me, follow me on Instagram at Coach Crossar. Follow the joint podcast page at bulletproof mindset __. And until next time, have a lovely day.